Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. Another paid request, this time for Alban. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below. Pretty much any videos you see on there, the links will be down in the info box under these videos. But Alban wanted me to give my top 15 films of 2001. Now, looking a bit into this, these are the ones I chose. There may be films I forget because it's hard to remember every film that came out that year, especially like direct-to-video films. But I did my best. I guess I'll go backwards. Number 15, I put Donnie Darko. Confusing but interesting story. Some nice striking visuals. I like G. Gyllenhaal, Patrick Swayze, may he rest in peace, Drew Barrymore, Jay Gyllenhaal's sister, Maddie Gyllenhaal. I thought the cast did a good job. I thought the story was weird and quirky enough to keep me interested to see what was going on. And while I can't dot all the I's and cross all the T's with the plot, there's enough I can understand to make me feel interested with it. I'm not a fan of David Lynch, but I did like this movie. And I say that because there's a comparison between the two where their films are confusing but at the same time, I just found this more interesting, whether it be the usage of the songs and the cast, and even then, I still made more sense out of this than a lot of David Lynch movies. So, Donnie Darko I do like. Number 14, I put the remake of 13 Ghosts. Now, it's not up there with like House on a Haunted Hill, which the company did that remake in 1999. I quite enjoy that with Jeffrey Rush and Famke Johnson, Taye Diggs. Really enjoy that remake. 13 Ghosts, I thought was a fun movie. I like the set design of the house that's see-through, and you got these mirrors or see-through glass, like with the rooms. It was cool to see Tony Shalhoub as the lead. I like Matthew Lillard as an actor. It was great to see him in the movie. He was my favorite character in the movie. I like the designs of the ghosts by TMB. I will say the reason it's lower on the list, a twist involving a character later on I thought was kind of weak. Considering it's 13 ghosts, at times a lot of them you barely see them at all. And you think 13 ghosts, you think you're going to be seeing a lot more ghost action. Not as much as you think. Again, a lot of these ghosts, they appear like briefly once or twice and then never again. And I'm like, I don't know if maybe there's some like home welcoming party. Like, hey, we have some friends, welcome. And then you get maybe a bit more body count as more people are separated and there's all these ghosts here and there. Matthew Lillard, I wish, as much as I like Tony Shalhoub, I actually wish Matthew Lillard and his character was the main character. You do still have Tony Shalhoub in the film, but I wish Matthew Lillard became the main character and either have it where he was tricked into doing this, or he helped this guy, but then he realizes it's wrong and he wants to do a redemption arc, and have him be like more of the focus. I think that would have been cool to see. I know Matthew Lillard is not a fan of the film. I don't know why. I don't think he's ever said why he's not a fan, but I know he's not a fan of the film. But I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I still think it's a fun enough, well, I can't say creature feature, but it's a fun enough time. Has one great gore gag where a guy gets split in half. And I said, I think I like the concept, the setting. Again, Tony Shalhoub, Matthew Lillard, I like those actors. It was still fun enough to watch. You know, I have the Blu-ray over there, thanks to a nice guy out there. Number 13, I put Joyride. Good thriller. Not up to The Hitcher from 1986 or stuff. The ending does bother me, sequel bait ending. I love the alternate ending much more. It's like a 20-minute alternate ending. Did I say opening? I meant ending. Alternate ending. Where they like blow up the truck as if it was Jaws. And there is no sequel bait ending. In fact, I have a fan cut where I put that ending in it. I thought that was much better fit. At least in my opinion. Paul Walker, Steve Zahn, I think they worked well as brothers. Lily Sobieski, I don't mind. Ted Levine worked very well as the voice of Rusty Nail. Yeah, pretty decent, efficient thriller. Joyride. Like I said, if it had more of a satisfying ending, I didn't even like the whole motel thing. But, apparently I'm alone in that. Like I said, I like the alternate, and if the alternate ending was fit into it, I would put it probably a bit higher on the list. Number 12, Jurassic Park 3. Yes, it has a stupid dream scene where a fucking raptor talks. Cut that scene out. And then what else is there really... I can understand people may be going, it's not spectacular. That's why it's number 12 on the list. But I think it was a lean, efficient popcorn movie. Surprisingly and refreshing that it was only like 80-some, 90 minutes. Like, it's a pretty short film. And considering that so many films are fucking 2.5 hours, it being that short even back then was a surprise. It was great to see Sam Neill back as Alan. And I thought he did a good job in this. I didn't mind the family couple. Some get annoyed by Tia Leone. I can understand. But if I could deal with Kate Capshaw and Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, I could deal with her in this. I liked William H. Macy. He's a good actor. I liked him as the dad, as they're looking for their son. The son, when he appears, is not annoying or irritating or a jag-off. The effects, there's actually quite a bit of practical effects in this. Which was nice when I revisited it again a few years ago. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised how many practical effects is in this. This is rather refreshing. Hell, there's more practical effects in this than any of the new Jurassic World movies. I like that they finally utilized a bit more of the pterodactyls. And, like I said, it was just fast-paced, efficient popcorn movie. Really didn't think it was that bad. It might not be incredibly memorable, but yeah, I like the ending with the different type of monster and using the flare to try to burn it out, and I don't mind that aspect. Didn't mind it. Number 11, I think this came out this year because I looked up on IMDb. It said 2001. No, Wikipedia. I think it was Wikipedia. I looked it up. Yeah, Wikipedia said, but again, Wikipedia isn't always right. But I put Replicant with Jean-Claude Van Damme. You get to see Van Damme play a serial killer as well as his clone. It's directed by Ringo Lam. May he rest in peace. Sadly, he passed away. He did Maximum Risk and In Hell. Those two other films with Van Damme. I think he worked well with Van Damme because I like all those movies. I like Maximum Risk. I liked In Hell, and I like this movie. And it's an interesting idea to have a serial killer, but then have a clone chase him down. Michael Rooker, I thought, did a good job as the police officer that uses the clone to hunt the serial killer down. Like I said, it was great to see Van Damme stretch his acting muscles to play a killer, like a serial killer, and that was different and unique. And some of the action scenes, like there's this bit where Michael Rooker is hanging for dear life on this ambulance. It's fucking bouncing up and down this garage. And you see at times it looks like fucking Michael Rooker himself really hanging on for dear life on that. Yes, it would have been nice if it had a bit more of a budget, because it was pretty much a direct-to-video film. I mean, it has a decent budget compared to other direct-to-video films, but it didn't have like a studio budget. But overall, I thought Replicant was a pretty decent one. Number 10, Jason X. A lot of people hate the film. I remember I first saw it on DVD and being pleasantly surprised with how fun it was. Yes, it's a goofy movie. It's called Jason X. It's Jason in space. It should be goofy and fun. And at this point, if you're telling the audience right off the bat we're goofy and fun, I'll give you a bit more respect compared to fucking Halloween Ends, that you want to say it's serious and then you still make me laugh my ass off. And Jason X, I like the future setting. I like the spaceship setting. The cast, I don't mind the, what's her name? Who got frozen with Jason the present and went to the future. I forget the actress's name. I didn't mind her. I didn't mind Sergeant Brodsky, because the actor would actually be in the first Dead Space film as the Captain Zach Hammond. I wish we got to see more of that character. But I liked him. Buck the ribs. Gonna take more of that. Put this guy down. Get stabbed the second time. That'll probably do it. It's got a good amount of kills. Got some creativity in kills, including a woman getting her head frozen and smashed. That's what I mean, like, I think a lot of the Friday the 13th films are goofy. Friday the 13th Part 5 is fucking goofy. With Junior and, oh, those damn enchiladas. That's a goofy movie. Look at the beginning. Fucking fat guy with the chocolate bar, and this is a facility that they give this crazy guy who literally took eight fucking cups of espresso, gave him a fucking axe, might as well give him a fucking chainsaw and a hockey mask to go. Why would he give this guy of all people a fucking axe? And that's a good, you know, at one point there's these greasers that out of fucking grease. Go kick your ass, you know. It's a fun movie, I enjoy it. But I mean, it's goofy. People like Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't. That's goofy. That's fucking New York every night at midnight. There's toxic fucking waste. I've never been to New York, but I dare fucking tell you toxic waste not going through New York sewers every night at midnight. And Jason looks like shit Clayface and turns to a regular looking boy with hair. That's funny. He was bald and his eyes were like this. But this is bad because it's too silly. A lot of them are fucking silly. What are you talking about? But this embraced it, and it sadly didn't have the budget to really work out the special effects. It was ambitious. I know the original script was a bit of a bigger movie, but they just didn't have the budget for it. But it was ambitious, and they tried, and I liked Kane Hodder. I liked the look of Jason. I liked the kills. I didn't mind some of the actors. Uber Jason, they should have done a lot more with that. It was a big part of the marketing, and when he's created, like 5 minutes later, he's destroyed. That should have happened 30 minutes in. 15 minutes of build-up. Or, let's say, if it's a 90-minute movie, 35, 40 minutes in. 15 minutes of build-up. Jason comes in. 10 minutes of him doing his business. It's 15, 25. Give another 10 minutes of in-between stuff. And then, boom, Jason is Uber Jason. You know, they were kicking ass before. And then he does a big body count. Hell, have there be like a bunch of soldiers that arrive to help out. And let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. The balls are bouncing off him, but then he can like fucking rip heads. Again, maybe they didn't have the budget for that. But If they're able to find a way, have like, literally like rip arms off and smack them in the face with it. But I still think Jason X is fun. B-movie fun. Number 9, Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal. One of the last decent films the guy did. Because he had a Warner Brothers budget, theatrical budget, so it's slick enough to look. DMX, rest in peace DMX, man. I thought he was a decent actor, rapper, duo, meaning I like some of his songs, like X Gonna Give It To Ya, but I think acting-wise, he was fine. He did fine in Exit Wounds. You also have Michael Jai White in the film. You got Tom Arnold in the film. Was Anthony Anderson in it? Yeah, or was he in Cradle? I know he's in Cradle to the Grave with Tom Arnold. I'm trying to remember, is Anthony Anderson in Exit Wounds? I think he was. But guys, can't remember who the hell he played. I think he was. Maybe not. I know Tom Arnold. And I thought Seagal did a pretty decent job. See, I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've seen Exit Wounds. It's been a while. Because I know Anthony Anderson was in Romeo Must Die, was in Cradle to the Grave, so I'm assuming he was in Exit Wounds. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, because there's something in the end credits that has the two of them in it, I believe. Yeah, because I think he's... Yeah, because he's a guy... Yeah, okay, yeah, he's a guy at the bar, and like Seagal does this move, and Anthony Anderson's like, no, and he tries to do the... And someone grabs the bottle. And the editor says, oh, look at my two big guys here. They're going to kick your ass. And Seagal beats the shit out of him. Because that's when they try to do Seagal with the wire foo. That's one of the detriments. You don't need wire work with Seagal. And you could tell it's wire work, and it just doesn't work at all. But like I said, it was nice to see Seagal in a big budget movie. One of the last times he would get a big budget movie, and a lot better than Half Past Dead. Fun, entertaining, seemed like Seagal would be on a comeback, did well at the box office, and then Half Past Dead killed that. But Exit Wounds I thought was a fun movie. Number 8, Behind Enemy Lines. Owen Wilson I thought was very capable as the lead. It showed he could do more than comedy. He could do bits of action as well, and a bit of serious role. Still has his humor in it, but still taking things a bit seriously. Gene Hackman is always a pleasure to see him because he's a fantastic actor. I always remember the trailer for this. Hey man, nice shot. And yeah, this is one of those movies that's not the most realistic, but there's some entertainment escapism, like going through the minefield. Yeah, I know that's not how mines work with the way that plays out, but I like the way it's directed. It's the only film worth a shit by John Moore. Because that fucking guy did Die Hard 5. Didn't he do fucking Max Payne as well with Marky Mark and his Funky Bunch? So John Moore is a hack. And Behind Enemy Lines is one of the only decent films he did. The only decent film he fucking did. You know what? Actually, I like the film. The more I think about it, I would put that at number 13. Because I do like the film, but I do remember there's instances of it slows down, and the villains are there, but the villains are pretty forgettable. And I like Owen Wilson, I like Gene Hammond, I like some of the action scenes. The story is there. Reminds you a little bit of Gene Hammond's film Bat 21, only he was the one behind enemy lines. And then he's kind of playing the Danny Glover role. I like the film, but I'm just looking at this list going, well, I like Edge of Wounds more because I'm a fan of those type of martial arts action films. I like Jason X more as a B-movie fun gore stuff. Replicant, you know, ambitious for its direct-to-video budget. Joyride, I would say Behind Enemy Lines I do like, but I'll put that at number 13. So it'd be Edge of Wounds at number 8, Jason X at number 9, Replicant number 10, Jurassic Part 3 number 11, Joyride number 12, and Behind Enemy Lines number 13. 13 goes number 14. Donnie Darko number 15. Number 7 would be Frailty. Bill Paxton did a wonderful job directing this. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Also did a great job acting in it. And Matthew McConaughey's in the film. Such an interesting idea. Where this father, you think he's so crazy that he's murdering demons. He could tell these people are demons. You have his two sons. One believes his dad. One thinks his dad's crazy. That's a movie where the script and where it goes to and the turn was very ingenious to me. And I don't want to spoil it. For those who haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. But I thought that's actually a very unique way to go. And that was actually pretty damn interesting. I quite enjoyed that. Frailty. And I don't know how to do it without spoiling it. Well, if I ever review or re-review the film, maybe I'll do it then, but... Number 6, Jay and Silent Bob Straight Back. As much as I hate Kevin Smith nowadays, I do like his past movies, including this one. Now, I would say Clerks and Mallrats were funnier, but this one, it was nice to see Jay Mewes get the center stage. Granted, this was in the middle of his drug usage. I think this one, he drank more alcohol than drugs. I think. But, when I was talking about in Clerks 3 about Jason Mewes' performance, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, watch a scene from this movie, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, then watch a scene from Clerks 3. In Clerks 3, he's mugging for the camera and being very over the top. And in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, he felt much more natural. Even in the bigger moments, it felt more subdued compared to Clerks 3. And that was a cartoon type of movie. And, you know, the cameos, he had James Vanderbeek and Jason Biggs and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And that was a fun take on Hollywood. And, of course, you the bomb and Phantoms, yo. That's where that came from. Good usage of like Dante and Randall and Jason Lee's character from Mallrats, tie them all together, because that was originally supposed to be the end of the View Askew universe. We ended on a Jay and Silent Bob movie, and that's why we're having all these people, that one from Chasing Amy, that one from fucking Mallrats, just be this big culmination. But then, okay, he's going to do Clerks 2. But then Clerks 2 was a nice, sweet movie. And then he fucked it up with Clerks 3. But Jay and Silent Bob Straight Back is still a fun movie. I like that song. Who around here wants to kick some ass? I do, I do. And they're pretty much looking at all the trolls that call them assholes. And they go around. Who around here wants to kick some ass? Mark Hamill, a lot of cameos in the movie that were fun. It's an entertaining movie. George Carlin, Carrie Fisher, Even hell, Will Ferrell has a pretty decent sized role in this. Judd Nelson has a cameo. It seemed like Kim Smith had a little bit bigger of a budget compared to like Mallrats and such. To splurge a little bit on scope. I could be a sucker for a good road trip movie. I mean, this is not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles good, but it's still a fun road trip movie. So, number 5, I put this film, The Order. In fact, if I remember, maybe that'll be the thumbnail. Because this came out in 2001, this is kind of the start of Van Damme's direct-to-video career. I'm not saying this was the first one, but I remember this might have been the first one I saw Van Damme's that was direct-to-video. I'm not saying it was the first one that came out, because Universal Soldier: The Return came out in 1999. I enjoyed it, but everyone else hated the film to death. And so that film bombed so badly, no one wanted to have him for another theatrical run. So what else is he going to do? Well, he's going to deal with Sheldon Lettich again, who did Double Impact and Lionheart. I know Viking Samurai is a YouTuber, and some of these other guys are asking Sheldon Lettich questions. Someone asked him about this movie. I'd like to know his thoughts in working on this movie. His is a lower budget, but it's trying to be an adventure film, a little bit of an Indiana Jones type of film, where Van Damme's father is missing, and something about this sacred scroll. Van Damme goes to Israel to find his dad. Ben Cross from Chariots of Fire, he's in it. Charlton Heston is in it. And I wonder how the fuck they got Charlton Heston to do this movie. Like, yeah, he's not in the film long, but yeah, Charlton Heston is in the film. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? But yeah, it's one of the last times you'll see Van Damme being Van Damme in his charm, sense of humor, laughing, joking, smiling, those classic Van Damme kicks and punches and flying kicks. One of the last times you would see it in a film, at least. And that was a shame. Sadly, there's no features on this. Like I said, if anyone out there ever interviews Sheldon Lettich, ask him about this movie. And Brian Thompson from Cobra, and he was in Lionheart with Van Damme. Although, from what I understand, he did not like Van Damme. I don't know why. But yeah, this film just went straight to video, and sadly didn't get much fanfare, but I do think this is one of Van Damme's best direct-to-video movies, The Order, and that came out in 2001. Not to be confused with Heath Ledger's film, The Order. Number 4, Evolution. Very fun comedy. You got David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Sean William Scott. Ivan Reitman, may he rest in peace, he directed it. See, that's a film that's a take on Ghostbusters, but it deals with aliens. But it was the right way to do it, because he had great chemistry with the lead characters. The effects, I do wish there was more practical and less CGI. But I do like the designs of the creatures. I thought they got very creative with the designs of the creatures. It was cool, being a big X-Files fan, it was cool to see David Duchovny as the lead of this type of movie. Him and Orlando Jones worked very well together. There's a really funny bits. There's always time for lubricant. Evolution, very underrated comedy. Did not get the respect it deserved. I'll watch the 10 times over that fucking Ghostbusters Afterlife or Ghostbusters 2016. Give me Evolution any day over that shit. Number 3, Session 9. Really enjoy Session 9. Session 9, to me, is one of the creepiest, well-done psychological horror films out there, especially the 2000s. It has a fantastic setting in this mental institution, and it's about a bunch of workers having to deal with the asbestos in there, and you feel the rundown nature of it. And the score is unique and creepy. The actors, David Caruso did a great job. I forget who is the lead, his name. But all the cast did a wonderful job. It's creepy. It's oozing with atmosphere. And you look at it either way. You look at it as supernatural. You look at it as totally psychological. And you'd be fine either way. And I love, like, the scene where the guy is in the room with all the light bulbs and all the lights going out, and he's running because he's scared, and he can't outrun the darkness. The darkness is overcoming him as he's running. I thought the ending was effective, and I'm a guy that's not usually for those type of endings, but I thought it was just really effectively done here. And I don't know what the fuck happened to Brad Anderson, because he never made a movie close to being this good. Now, I could deal with maybe The Machinist with Christian Bale, but Vengeance on 7th Street and that fucking one with the Avatar guy. Forgot the name of it. I mean, that was really lame. But Session 9, great horror movie. I live in the wheat. What was it? I live in the wheat and the... I forget the damn line. It was a really good line. I live in the sick and the wheat. I live in the wheat and... I wish I could remember what the hell it was, because it was very creepy in the delivery. But love Session 9. Number 2, Kiss of the Dragon. My favorite Jet Li film. Very entertaining action movie. I could do without Bridget Fonda, or at least maybe a different actress, because I don't mind Bridget Fonda. I don't think she worked well in the role. She was just a means to the end for Jet Li to go kick some fucking ass. I would say Mira Sorvino would have been better, but she was already doing other stuff, and maybe it'd be too much like The Replacement Killers for her. But I don't know, I just 2001. I don't know who would do it to be a oh, just Bridget Fonda didn't do much for me, but the action scenes are fantastic, at least for me. Maybe fantastic is a strong word, but I really enjoy the action scenes. And just Jet Li, just kicking ass, taking names, plentiful fights. I'm a dirty dog. Da 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 da. He's fighting the big guy, avoiding his big punches. There's sequence where he's fighting those two guys. Were they like twins or brothers or something? He's like fighting them both at the same time. I like the soundtrack as well used in that. The scene where he's got, of course, a school of people training martial arts. He's got to beat the shit out of all of them. Just a total movie that just showcased Jet Li as a total badass. In the bed when he's walking in to this like corrupt police station, and there's a guy trying to talk, and Jet Li just kicks the thing and knocks the guy out. And Jet Li does it without even looking. Just to see Jet Li as a total fucking badass. I like Chetty Terrio as the villain. He was also the villain in the first Bad Boys movie. He worked well. Like I said, the action scenes are fun, plentiful. The Paris locations worked well for the scenery and background. Other than Bridget Fonda, the rest of the movie I thought was just very enjoyable if you like your action films. And number 1 is Rush Hour 2. I love Rush Hour 2. I remember seeing that. I didn't get to see it in the theater, but I saw it on DVD because I loved the first Rush Hour. And enjoying this one even more. I laughed more. I thought the action scenes felt more like Jackie Chan style. It felt like they had a bit of a bigger budget to really flourish flourished some of these action scenes. I thought Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan had good chemistry in the first one. They had even better chemistry since they were more comfortable with each other. I didn't mind, what's the girl from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? I didn't mind her as one of the villains. You one crazy ass bitch. I didn't like the fight scenes, the bit in the sauna where Jackie's utilizing all the elements and furniture and helping Chris Tucker do all this stuff. That did feel like a genuine Jackie Chan fight scene. And no matter how you feel about Jackie Chan or other people this day, Brett Ratner, I still think that was a fun movie, Rush Hour 2. Still very entertaining. I like that they're in Hong Kong. Great background locations of Hong Kong being utilized. Japan and Hong Kong were always like two places I was curious of wanting to visit one day. Same with maybe Australia or other stuff, but again, I don't have the money for that. But yeah, Rush Hour 2 I just thought was a lot of fun. Great popcorn entertainment. One more could be said about Rush Hour 2. They made a good team, and then Rush Hour 3 was just pretty lame. Sadly, Rush Hour 3, there's been so many worse films that have shit the bed that you kind of went up without doing anything. I'm still not a fan of Rush Hour 3. But would I rage on it like other sequels? No. I would go, this is a disappointment, it's not as funny, and it's a bigger budget because of the cast. Like, they were paid more money, but you don't see that budget on the screen. It seemed like the action fight scenes dwindled. There's a lot of problems at Rush Hour 3. But again, after Clerks 3, and of course Alien 3, fucking I'm sure what they'll do in Indiana Jones, the Disney Star Wars films, all this shit. Rush Hour 3, like, I don't like you, but you're more tolerable compared to crap nowadays. So with that said, thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.